everybody, I wanted to do an updated video on how to properly make elderberry syrup using the stovetop method. You can absolutely use the Instant Pot. The Instant Pot makes things a lot quicker, but I would not say that it makes elderberry syrup making any quicker. You've got to cook elderberries with the lid open for at least 30 to 45 minutes, and the stovetop method is just as easy. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. The basic setup for making elderberry syrup: first of all, you'll need to buy elderberries. Dried organic elderberries can be purchased on Amazon. You'll need a ginger root. I like to use 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh ginger root. I love to use orange zest, an organic cinnamon stick, whole cloves, about 1/2 teaspoon, and then I use the orange that I used to zest in the recipe as well. You'll need honey. You'll need water, of course. You'll need a strainer, a potato masher, and a couple of bowls, and you're all set. So I've got my stovetop and pot, so I'm gonna just start pouring ingredients in. First, you're gonna need 3½ cups of water, filtered water. Just pour it right in. And then you're gonna take your elderberries and pour them right in. I pre-measured everything that I have for this recipe. I'm just gonna throw it all in as well. So I've got my chopped ginger, I've got my orange zest, my cinnamon stick, and my cloves. And then I am just going to take this orange, squeeze it in, and just throw it in. And that is all we need to get started. We're gonna turn this on to a low boil. We're gonna get it going first. It doesn't take long. But basically you're going to let this do its work on a low boil, on a low simmer for 45 minutes, open air, no lid. And then I'll come back and show you what to do. There's one other ingredient. You want to make sure that the honey is not added in at this stage. We're going to add it in later when everything is cooled down. So I wanted to make sure you could see how low I'm boiling this. So once it reached a rolling boil, I turned it down, and I'm going to try to maintain this sort of look right here for the remainder of the 40 minutes that I have. I added in a little bit more water because I lost some in the demonstration video, and I dropped in those 2 cloves just in case you're worried about it. So our elderberry syrup has completed its 45 minutes of a boil, and you can see how it reduced down by looking at the pot and where it started and where it is now. That's exactly what you want to see. You want to see it reduce down a bit. So the next step is we're going to pour this into a mesh strainer and a bowl to separate the chunky pieces of the elderberry and all the other yummy ingredients that are in there from the straight liquid. You don't want any of the elderberries or branches or anything, twigs or whatever. I don't know if there are branches in here, but twigs, yes. You don't want any of that to get into your liquid. So the next step, I think it's a little bit easier if you take out the little chunks of orange. Try to keep your elderberry in there. Get that good stuff in there, and we're gonna extract as much of the juice as we can from the elderberries and the ginger. We're just gonna kind of press down, and it's doing its job. Just putting a little weight into it. And we are going to discard all of this stuff. We're not going to use that for anything. It's not recommended to eat elderberries. Okay, we're down to the last step. We've separated out our elderberries from our liquid. I have close to 3/4 cup to 1 cup of elderberries. I've let this come to room temperature, about 100 degrees on a candy thermometer. If you don't have a candy thermometer, just let this sit in the bowl once you've separated it out for about 35 minutes, and then it will come to room temperature at that point, so you're safe. You don't want to add your honey in until you're at this phase. So now it's time, since I've waited until this has cooled down, to go ahead and add in my 1/2 cup of honey. If you add in the honey too soon while the liquid's too hot, you can lose some of its medicinal benefits to the honey. So that's why we're waiting. We don't want to shortcut that step. So this is basically the final step to elderberry. I've got about 1.5 cups now since I added in my honey. This will definitely take you a long way. You just jar this up and keep it in the fridge, and it's going to last you for several months, maybe 3 months from what I read online. The recommended dosage for this is I mean, I'm not a naturopath or a doctor, so do your own research, ask your own doctor. But I give a teaspoon a day to my daughter, who's 2. I did not give it to her before she was 1 year old because of the honey. I don't take it because I'm pregnant. I'm gonna wait until after all that's done. But if you're an adult, you can take 1 tablespoon a day for immune boosting benefits to keep the flu and the cold away. If you happen to get the cold or the flu, I've heard that you can do this recommended dosage every 2 to 3 hours for up to 5 days. So cheers to health and making your own elderberry syrup at home.